Hey everyone, welcome to Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler. It's your girl Faye. It's Sunday night. We're gonna do a show like we always do. Um, yeah, we're just gonna jump into it. An update on the Parachico fundraiser. We have less than $1,000 to go, and this is our last night, which means that sort of between now and the end of tonight, 12 a.m., will be it. And then whatever they have remaining, I will call them on my really fancy red phone. That's my serious phone. If you're getting a call from that, you know it's big business. And then I will ask them, how much would you like? And they will quote me a number, and I will go, okay, and then give them that money, I believe is how it's going to work. Except for I won't call anyone since, my generation doesn't use the phone, but I will make sure they get the money that they need. Thank you everyone for participating in the fundraiser, for sharing out all of the stuff with it, for attending their events, sharing their events, donating to them if you can. You still have a chance to donate $50 to be part of a fundraiser poster. So all that's really cool. Help keep some of our community spaces alive. We have the Red River Rainbow Seniors is offering another grant, a micro grant opportunity. They'll be giving $250 to a couple of LG plus youth serving organizations in the Red River Valley area. They've done this, this is the third year now, and it's always been a very awesome time, not just to get the money, but to be able to connect our elders with some of our youth. Because I think a lot of our queer youth, like we've never had a chance to have elders as queer population. So I'm so thrilled that this space can exist. If you know of an LG plus serving organization that serves youth, please connect them to the micro grant. Even if you don't get awarded that, it's always nice to reflect on ways that you could expand or advance or what you could do with money if you had it. So please share that out as widely as possible just to let people know that it's happening. It's a really cool thing. I want to give special shout outs to Barry Nelson, who has been the interim executive director at the North Dakota Human Rights Coalition for as long as I've known him. He's been involved in human rights work. He's being recognized with a Hometown Hero Award for that recognition. So I just want to take a moment to celebrate him and his accomplishments based on human rights don't always get a lot of rewards. I want you to all know that there is a block party happening September 22nd in Bismarck. This is a party. It is a party to invite individuals who want to attend, to be vendors, to provide music, art, any way that you want to get out as a big kind of community event. It's kind of like a farmer's fair for like artists, right? You can do so. So there are still opportunities to volunteer, to get tables to vend if you have art to sell, or otherwise get involved or get psyched. That's going to be in just a week now. So check out the link in my legal report, and it'll be good. It'll be a good time. I want to remind people that there are a ton of opportunities to get involved either with a new job or to join a board if you feel like you want to volunteer and get involved in organizations. I have P Fund's opportunity to help them with selecting grantees, but there are board opportunities at Parachico, at the Pride Collective, and a few other places, not just LG Plus related, but a lot of places in general. You can go and help them out. So I just want to let you know that's a thing. YouthWorks is hiring for jobs. First Link is kind of rotatingly always hiring. I didn't see job openings last time I checked, but there's usually an opening coming up with them. And then there's also Aldi's is hiring for 23 an hour. So if you want to not work what you're currently working and work at Aldi's for a bit, that can pay pretty well. In really big news, a local judge has struck down the abortion ban in North Dakota. I don't know the intricacies of this ruling. I'm not that versed in what the law means and what's going to happen with this. I think we're all kind of experiencing that right now. But to my understanding, it seems like individuals who are pregnant are now able to get an abortion up until viability of a baby. So that's something that is fantastic for reproductive rights and justice. While Red River Women's Clinic has moved to Moorhead, there are still abortion services performed all across North Dakota because it is a standard and routine part of healthcare. There are a lot of instances where individuals who are pregnant, if they do not get an abortion, risk their life. There's a lot of ways that can happen, and the abortion ban made that fairly unclear, at least the arguments that we had seen. And based on the fact that most of the doctors that were providing the care were nervous in leaving our state, I think that the fear was very real. So where that's going to end up, unclear, but it's a huge step forward for general human rights in North Dakota, and that's awesome. In terrible news, Rob Port did a featured story looking at the addiction issue within our incarceration system, looking at how much it was failing individuals. There's a ton to the story. I really recommend reading it. It's a deep dive into it with local frustrations, and I don't know the particulars of the complexity that happens in these issues between inequitable laws and access and funding, not enough people involved, not enough people who care deeply enough to prevent harm from happening. But the long and short of it is there are people who are arrested who are completely removed from reality since they're on some substance or they are addicted to a substance where they no longer are getting it, so they're suffering withdrawals. And with that, psychosis, as well as being inhabilitated, not even being able to leave bed. Addiction withdrawals are incredibly painful and disorienting. So these are individuals who can't be or not ordained, put through our systems, and there isn't really a place for them. I think the story indicates that some individuals are not just suffering but dying as they wait to get placed somewhere because there's nothing you can do for them. I've read one story. There are people whose work this is. So what I want to do here is not tell you exactly how things are happening, but for you to read the story, and for you to read what's going on and to be aware of it as we head into our 2025 legislative session. The Indigenous Youth Cultural Programs is starting up on September 23rd at 4:30 p.m. This is something that is through YouthWorks, and they're currently inviting Indigenous young folks to kind of step up to say what they want out of a group like this and to make sure it's led by the youth as opposed to, adults that have feelings and don't necessarily know what it's like to be a kid these days. So YouthWorks has always been very good at making sure youth have a voice and are part of the conversation and the table. So if you know any Indigenous youth who might benefit from this or families who would like to know these opportunities exist, please share, please check it out. The League of Women Voters has a newsletter that goes out once a month. There's a lot of different places, like there's a League of Women Voters Plum Valley, League of Women Voters River Valley. There's a lot of League of Women Voters, but a lot of them have information that is central to politics in your area. The last newsletter that I saw that went out had just a lot of great information about general voting rights and ways to get involved all across the month. If democracy is something that you value and care about from a very nonpartisan lens to empower everyone to be able to participate in our democracy, the League of Women Voters is the best organization I know of in the state. They are incredible, filled with incredible, passionate people that really want to fight for everyone's rights to be represented in government. So I always recommend the newsletter here and there to follow it. You can become a card-carrying member of the League of Women Voters, which I am. So I like, full disclosure, I'm biased. I like their work enough to join and be a member. Wish I had more time for it, but it is phenomenal work that I love to promote. Indie Compass is another phenomenal organization that deals with data in North Dakota. They have a newsletter that goes out once a month where they ask a researcher that's usually an expert in their field about something that's going on and to kind of explain their area of focus. I actually contributed myself in June for LG Plus data. This month it looked like they were looking a lot at high school graduation rates or not. And it was surprising to me personally. They actually had a quiz in their newsletter, how many of our youth graduate, and I assumed it was 90%, and it's 83%, and I didn't know. That means 1 in 6 of our students don't graduate on time. They do potentially go to other programs to graduate later, but these are individuals who don't graduate when we'd expect them to at the end of 12th grade. So I didn't know that, and this is a newsletter that has just a incredible wealth of data all across North Dakota population. So it's just a great advocacy place for data, for information, for anyone who does anything at the state level. They are worth following. And their newsletter is really cool. I thank them for it constantly. There's just a lot of cool design choices. As someone who follows dozens of newsletters, it's just a treat to get it. So yeah, there's just a lot of great news with Indie Compass. Check them out if you care about data and experts across North Dakota. I want to give everyone a heads up that Bismarck-based North Dakota Coalition for Homeless People is having a strategic planning meeting coming up September 25th. That is happening in Bismarck. I don't know if it's digital offhand. It's across the state, and then from my understanding, this was an organization that had done a lot of work pre-pandemic, and the pandemic messed a lot of things up, and they're looking to get back in action. They're looking to kind of get back to where they were. So if you are invested in issues impacting people who experience homelessness across the state, this is a time to get involved, to look at what their strategies might be, and to help influence that and let them know what's going on in your own community. So if that is work you care about, if you know about people who care about this, let them know it's happening. I talk about this sometimes, but like I share a lot of resources. I'm sure 90% of what I share you don't care about, but you probably know someone who does. Like I have a wide net of people who watch the show. And the whole point is you might not intersect with some of these things, but maybe your brother does, or maybe a family member, or maybe a colleague, or maybe a person you have coffee with. Like that's the goal of the show, is to just get us to talk to each other, to share these things, to make the efforts any one of us is trying to be the most successful as it can be. And then finally, I just want to go over three big events that are happening. The first is going to be the Harvest Moon Soiree. That'll be hosted by the 31-8 Project, which does a lot to prevent trafficking for our youth in general across North Dakota. It's one of their big fundraisers. That's happening October 12th at 5:30 p.m. The other big event is Tears. That is a survivor of suicide loss organization, the biggest and best in our state for it. They have their annual talk and walk coming up September 22nd. So that will be next week. Sorry, I looked at the date and I was like, oh no, that happened last week. Time is so fast. But I always like to promote that. I've promoted it probably every week, but it's just such a wonderful organization because the work of survivors of suicide loss has not been a good part of the conversation until recently. Just that the trauma of experiencing a suicide is something that can really impact people, and I'm glad there's work being done. So I'm cheerleading them as much as I can. The last thing I want to talk about is the Nourish and Flourish conference. That's the Great Plains Food Bank's yearly conference, their big one. Great Plains Food Bank does fantastic, tremendously amazing work all across the state. They keep people fed. Like hierarchy of needs, you got to make sure people have food, or nothing else we do really matters that much. So they're one of the core anchored critical infrastructures keeping everyone as safe as possible through food security. So their big event is a training that's coming up, a conference. If you want to connect with people doing this work, it's a phenomenal conference in space. So the Nourish and Flourish conference, it's cute, but it is hard to say. I will say that. It is very hard to say, but it is cute. So good job. That's all I have for my opening news. I'm going to get into some promotion after this of some cool stuff that's happening. And then we'll close the show off. I got a new haircut. So I have a real treat for you. It's a video promoting the Memories concert that's coming up by Jared and Amanda Hoff. That's a benefit to our Fargo-Moorhead Gay Men's Chorus. That is coming up November 2nd at 3 p.m. And I will let you check out the video that's promoting it right now. I'm really glad I was able to share that. Like it's a really cute video, and it makes me like think it's going to be a really cool concert to go to. And I'm glad that they're also promoting and benefiting the Gay Men's Chorus, which provides a lot of community support, space, and activity for a lot of people in our area. I wanted to kind of use this concert to promote in general the idea that you can get involved in these spaces. Not necessarily like this concert in particular, but just music, art, theater, those are alive in our community. And if you want to experience them, it's not hard to. Either looking at this conference coming up, conference, sorry, professional, this concert coming up November 2nd at 3 p.m., like so. Even looking at that as an opportunity to go to, there is a web page of opportunities I just found for actor and filmmakers that promote a lot of cool opportunities to get involved personally or cool events that's going on. One of the recent ones coming up is a call for a horror short film, looking at two 25-year-old, like 18 to 25-year-old clerks-like people, like from the movie Clerks, kind of disengaged, I think. You should check it out. But if you're kind of interested in getting involved in this, there's opportunities. There's always opportunities to get out and to meet folks and to participate in some of this stuff. I also want to, anytime I'm in a theater venue trying to advertise theater stuff, I would be remiss not to advertise Theater B. Love Theater B's mission, love that they are so community oriented. And when we think about like the film call, when we think about going to concerts, when we think about all these ways to get involved, I think sometimes there's a gatekeeping where you feel like you're not talented or you're not like a high named actor or you didn't go to college to get a degree in filmmaking or acting, but like that's not what humans used to do. That's not what life used to be about, man. You know what life used to be about? It used to be about having a good time and just making art with your friends. And while there are professionals in the space who are extremely talented, yeah, like there are so much options to just create things and have fun and learn things and get better at them in whatever way that makes sense. So don't let your holdups hold you back on these things. I've advertised just a few things, but try to think about them. Try to think about getting out because these are investments in yourself, in your community. These are things that give you a lot of resiliency when there's harm that happens or trauma or bad stuff in the news. Like these are places that can make you feel centered and safe. So awesome memory concert coming up, a lot of opportunities to get involved, just all these things to kind of think about is what I wanted to do with this segment. And I hope it was successful. Looking at camera, successful. What should I do? No, that was a joke that there's someone off screen. It's just me. It's always been just me. I have great news for people who love anime, and that is Anime Fargo is coming up. It's coming up in 2 weekends, not next weekend, but the weekend after it. It is a fun time with a lot of people coming together to talk about their passions. I volunteered during last year's Anime Fargo. I plan to volunteer this year's Anime Fargo, and one of my favorite like moments of the entire time was actually this like younger lady, like I would say like 15, 16, like somewhere in that range. I don't really know. But she had this like bag or like a holder of some kind. I don't remember exactly what it was. And I was just at the door like looking at people's badges, letting them in. And she comes through and she has like she has that thing. I look in it and there's a Yusuke Urameshi action figure. And like I just like got really excited because I was just like, oh my God, like kids still like Yu Hakusho. Like that is awesome. Because as someone who was a young anime fan like 20 years ago, and those are the shows I grew up on, like I kind of just assumed like people had moved on, right? Like they're watching the new shows from the 2000s, 2010s, or even the like the stuff that happened in the last like 3 years. So like just to see someone was still connected to, appreciated, and loved an anime I grew up with, who was also like a kid now, like that to me was just incredible. And I think I just like talked to him, I was like, whoa, do you have Yusuke there? And just kind of geeked out about it. I don't know if that's relevant to anything, but I just want to share that this is what these spaces can be. And I think it's so cool that like we all have our own cultures, right? And not all of us have a good family culture. Like we don't have connections to like family like other people might, but we still might have connections to anime as a culture, to places like this where you can have that generational connection, where you can talk to, people who grew up with 1970s anime or 1980s anime, or people who are growing up just now and watching like Mob 100 or Jujutsu Kaisen as like their their big anime that happened to them. And just being able to have that intergenerational talk about like animation, where it's come from, where it goes to, how we connect to it, what we love from it. Like we create our own cultures, and that's so cool. And it's a space for us to kind of share in all these different hobbies that we care about. So if you are someone who likes this kind of thing, which I am, anime is half my life, I recommend going to it. I'll be presenting at it. I have an anime how to be or anime. I have a presentation how to be a hero in real life that'll talk about how we can use anime to basically motivate us. And you can't see the time. It's funny. You can't. Show went well for me today. I don't know. That's what I got. So I hope you have a good rest of your night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of this, and share the things that seem cool. Thank you. Bye.